Good afternoon. This is Sue, the Soggy Stamper, and I'm bringing you my Friday Facebook Live on Sunday afternoon. A beautiful, well, I was going to say sunny Sunday afternoon, but it's overcast a bit, but it's not raining, and that is quite a quite an improvement over the weather that we have had here this spring. So I want to share with you this today in this Facebook Live some ideas for using the heron habitat. Here in the Skagit Valley, where I live, we have a lot of nesting herons, the blue heron, and I believe it's even our state bird. So when this came available in the new 2022-2023 annual catalog, it was one of the first sets that I had to have. I like it because you're in my thoughts today, and I send a lot of cards to church family members to let them know that we're thinking of them, especially those who are homebound. I'm so thankful for you. A nice happy birthday, and enjoy your day, and thank you. So these will work for men and women, and that's one reason why this is such a great set. It comes as a bundle with, or can come as a bundle, with the heron dies. These have a couple of wonderful labels that fit the words, the greetings. This one works for "You're in my thoughts today," and then this die fits the happy birthday, the thank you, I'm so thankful for you, and enjoy your day. So all you need is right here in this one bundle. There's a die for cutting out the little bird. I think it is a seagull myself, because it's got short legs. And then there's one for the tall heron, and one for the flying heron. Does not have a die for the two little birds, so you have to stamp those. There is a die for the cattails, and then there is a die. There are several dies for little grasses that you can cut. You could almost, I think, consider them to be birds in the air, depending on what you cut them from. And then there is one large grass die that even embosses, which really, well, these emboss also. So this is one of the new things that Stampin' Up! Has been coming up with in their dies, is to emboss as well as cut. So that's the basics for the set. And I've got some ideas to share with you. Put these back. Oh, I forgot to mention, there is also this die for waves in the water. This is slightly narrower than 4 1/4, or even at 4 inches. So it does work. It does work on the 4 1/4. It does not work for landscape. It hangs over the edges. But I imagine you could cut and then reposition it and cut some more. So I'll get these out of the way. Well, I'll need that. So here's one. When I first saw the set, I went, oh, this is going to go so well with the seaside set. Let me get that. I'm sorry, oceanfront. The oceanfront set. This, it was in the January to June mini catalog 2022, and it has been carried forward into the annual catalog. So I'm really delighted about that, because they go together so well. And I use that on this card here. So two of these birds are reverse. This is the one that is in the stamp set. See? But the other two are reversed. And I did a reverse stamping technique so that I could get them so that they would face the opposite direction. It's an easy technique. I have done a video of it, which is up on my YouTube. Using the Stamparatus makes it very, very easy to do. And you can do reverse stamping and get your images to go the opposite direction with a little trouble. So there's that one. And then I thought, it's going to go well with the White Horizons Designer Series paper. That is in the January to June mini catalog. Unfortunately, it is being retired, so you can still get it until June 1st. And I would suggest that you snap it up because there's all kinds of design possibilities with it, with the images of islands and water. And then I stamped the thing from the stamp from Ocean Front. I used this and stamped it a couple of times using the Stamparatus to overstamp it for a little bit of a sandy beach. So those are the two cards that I have made in advance. The one we're going to make today is this one. I made this for a swap, and so it had to be fairly easy to make. And so I'll show you the supplies that we are going to use, rather, I should say. The card base is Sahara Sand. And I cut it 11 by 4 1/4 and scored and folded at 5 1/2. You could also do this with the fold on the side here and by using 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. And it would come out the same way. I like to have my fold up at the top because it stands up so nicely. However, when you do that, you do have to score before you fold because it's going against the fibers, because the fibers are running this way and it doesn't fold very smoothly. Okay, then the first layer is the pool party, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And that's essentially the base of our card for our designing. Now this technique I'm going to use today is, I don't know if it's official technique, but it is, I'm using colored pencils to color the images. I'm going to stamp it with smoky slate, makes a light image, and then you can color on top of it. And I'm going to be using the greenery and the image of the pathway. So just going to stamp this over here on the side with smoky slate, and the pathway kind of like this. Now I want to have some color to it, so I'm going to could use markers. I could use the Stampin' Blends. but I wanted to have the a more subtle coloring to it, not quite so solid. So I'm going to use watercolor pencils, and I'm using pencils from both Watercolor Set and Watercolor 2 set. Assortment 2 and assortment, the original assortment. And I have Early Espresso, which I'm going to color the cattails. And I find when using the colored pencils that it is better to have a soft point instead of a real sharp point, because you can get a smoother color there. And then this is Garden Green for the greenery. You might not think, since we already have the gray behind, that this would show up very well, but it does really a nice job of it. And it's fairly quick. Alternatively, I could color using the markers, the Stampin' Write markers. I could color on my stamp and stamp it in ink. But this is kind of fun to do the coloring this way too. Actually, that's what I did on, where's my other card? Where are my other cards? That's what I did on this one here. Colored it, I inked up the stamp with the markers. Okay, and then for the pathway, this is crushed curry, and it looked kind of like dirt, sandy dirt to me, so that's the color I chose. So there we have our background. Pardon the dogs, they are our alarm system. And my husband just shut the door to his truck. Okay, so now I have pre-stamped and colored the flying heron. I stamped it on basic white with the smoky slate, and I colored the wings with Night of Navy, and then I used the pumpkin pie for the legs and for the beak. And this is a circle cut out of the, where's my sheet here? I used the Hues of Happiness DSP and cut it out. This particular one has some stitching on it, whereas my sample doesn't, because I had originally cut it out using the circle die from the peony, the poppy dies, and it had circles kind of around it, but it was too big, so I just trimmed them off. Put that there. And I'm going to keep everything pretty flat. Actually, I had to make do with this because I had used up all this particular shade on the back of the Designer Series paper. And I think I'm going to trim this just a little bit. Sometimes it's a trick to get your die to be exactly see if I can get the actually to get it to stay exactly where you want it. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back, stamp and seal on the back of that. He's flying against the sun. So we've got that much done. I'm going to put it onto our card base. And then the label I have pre-stamped. You're in my thoughts today, and I cut it out with that one die. And for a little bit of embellishment, I tied some of the linen thread around the top. I like the way it's a heart here. I think that's really kind of sweet. I'm going to pop that up with Stampin' Dimensionals. Yep, I do repurpose it. I had something stamped on the other side that I wasn't going to need, so I used the back side. Don't want to waste any cardstock as if I can help it. I'm going to slip that right in here. There you have a fairly quick card. With the dies and the fact that you don't have to fussy cut around that, and stamping your images and then adding the color like that, makes it for a fairly pretty quick card. I think the thing that takes the most time is coming up with the idea and the designing. I hope that this has been helpful for you to give you ideas on how to use the heron habitat, and thank you for watching on this Memorial Day weekend. This is a Sunday afternoon. I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day tomorrow, safe and happy holiday. And this video will be up on my YouTube channel this afternoon. It's the Soggy Stamper. If you have any questions, you can email me, sue@soggystamper.com. And if you need any of the supplies, like the Heron Habitat bundle, you can shop at my online store, creationsbysue.stampinup.net. I would love to be your demonstrator if you don't already have one. And if you need a catalog, one of the new catalogs, just email me with your name and your phone number and your snail address, and I'll be happy to send you one. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.